It looks like a lot, but it's big print for my failing eyes, so I'm sorry. It's kind of weird being up on this side of things and seeing yourself in stereo. I feel like I should sing a Springsteen song. For those of you who don't know, Springsteen was a rocker from our generation, back when music was good. I'm an audio guy, and it was wonderful to hear your voices to open the ceremony. And so many of the things that you said resonated with me. The one that did the most is the woman who said that I discovered my voice. And to me, if education is anything, it's discovering your voice. And I hope that all of you have done that while you're here. Thank you, Catherine, for the lovely introduction, and to Chancellor Murdoch, who I think I freaked out today because I actually have a picture from my graduation here in 2001 with her shaking my hand in my wallet. I've carried it ever since, and so I think she's kind of bothered by this weird guy having her picture right next to his butt. Before I start, there's a headline in what is, I think you would agree, is one of the leading news sources today. You know, the world is changing drastically, so it's hard to tell what the leading sources are, but I think you'd agree that, along with Jon Stewart, The Onion is one of the leading sources. And there was a headline this week that I think is going to be appropriate for you, and I'll read it to you. It says, "New college grads to be cryogenically frozen until the job market improves." If you notice that booth with all the hoses and wires outside, it's there if you want to take advantage of it. I was in Africa recently, standing by the side of a dirt road and wondering if any of my friends or family would come visit me in a Zambian prison. I'd found myself surrounded by 10 or 12 military men, some in uniform, some in plain clothes, and all of them were yelling at me and accusing me of being a terrorist. Life experiences such as these really help define us. Learning to drive, volunteering to clean oil off brown pelicans along the Gulf Coast, our first kiss. Who we are comes in part from these kinds of moments. If we're willing and open, these events become our best learning experiences. We change, we grow, and we transform. You may or may not know that legendary folk singer Pete Seeger, he was before my generation. He does a great deal of environmental work along the Hudson River near where I live. He once told me that he doesn't work with anyone over 20. He said by that point, people's minds snap shut. But we're not here today because you've given up and closed off your mind. We're here because your life experiences tell you there is so much more to be learned and so many more defining moments to share. Most schools don't care so much about who we are. Rather, they care about how we test. To them, we're defined by our GPA, our IQ, and our GMATs. But at Antioch, we're more than just numbers. We're people. We're quirky, unusual, incredible people. You like that quirky part, right? And we don't spend all our time waiting in line to be the first to grab the newest iPhone or iPad. And I'm waiting for them to come out with that new device, the I don't care. Life is too short. It's too short to spend it with our noses buried in devices. I say this as I think somebody's webcasting this event today. And probably some of you are twittering right now. Is that, hold your hand if you're twittering. And for the faculty, hold your hand if you don't know what twittering is. My friend and Professor Jonathan Search is probably, I'm not sure where he is, but he's probably texting His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who he does work with right now, about this. And I think the Dalai Lama is sending a note back saying, "How do you do this with your thumbs?" Peter Scott was the founder of the World Wildlife Fund, and he said that the conservationist's most important task, if we are to save the earth, is to educate. But I would argue that this is a charge not just for conservationists, but for all of us. And it's a charge that Antioch does not take lightly. After all, it was Horace Mann, Antioch's first president, who you've heard referred to so many times today, that said, "Be ashamed to die until you've won some victory for humanity." I actually have that tape next to my desk. And that victory will only be won through education. People who make a difference don't stop growing. We don't stop defining and redefining ourselves. In fact, we crave change because it makes us stronger, and it means personal growth. Becoming a better son or daughter, a more creative boss or employee, a better father or mother, and a better citizen. Antioch offers us the opportunity to grow even more. It is transformational by nature in what is taught and how it's taught. When I began at Antioch, I thought experiential learning involved what happened in a science lab. Now wait while you experimental. It took me a minute. The texting was a much better joke, sorry. Other schools scoffed at Antioch. Education is about learning, not about working. But today, those schools are moving closer to the Antioch model because they're beginning to understand the value of experiential learning and all the other tools Antioch has used so effectively for more than 100 years. Our life experiences in and out of the classroom are what defines us, and Antioch knows this. Antioch looks for students who have accomplished things. Our experience until now is what got us to this point, and our experiences at Antioch are going to transform us further. It was Aldo Leopold who said that one of the penalties of an ecological education is that one lives alone in a world of wounds. I once thought that was true, but it was my classmates who showed me that one does not have to suffer those wounds alone. And in fact, there's a healing power that comes from shared experience. I will always be grateful for that lesson and so many others that I got at Antioch. Hillary Clinton was reviled for saying it takes a village, but we all know intuitively that this is true. My professors, Sherry Nicholson, Clyde Murley, Jonathan Search, and my classmates, Philip, Sandy, Gil, Susan, Tom, Andrea, Kim, and Diane, they are all part of my tribe. And they are responsible for so many of my transformative moments. And they still are. We actually have a little Yahoo group, a user group, that we communicate with each other 10 years later. And we still stay in touch. And in fact, this award is actually not for me, it's for them as well. It's for all of us and what we were able to accomplish in our time here. So take a moment right now to look around you at the members of your tribe. Take a quick second, shake hands. I hate it when they do this in church, because you turn around and that guy's turned around, but say thank you. Give people a hug, and remember that this is your tribe. This is the coolest part of today, it really is. Not me, but you. Remember the role that all these people have played in your life, and think of the roles they'll play in your future. Remember the defining moments of your life at Antioch and cherish them as you move on. You don't need to stand accused of being a terrorist to have life experiences that shape you. You simply need to live. And Antioch and all my friends that I've made here gave me new tools to do just that. So back to Zambia for a moment. As it happens, during my master's program, we had a course on conflict resolution. The skills I learned in that course helped me to diffuse what could have been a very bad situation. By the time it was over, the men who had initially threatened me with arrest were wishing me well and patting me on the back before I left. So as you leave Antioch, perhaps for your final time today, remember that you take this school with you in your heart. And don't ever forget to live with joy, amazement, and wonder. And never forget to laugh and be true to your heart, and never stop redefining yourself. Never stop changing, and never stop growing. I want to leave you with one more memory of my time at Antioch. I was reminded of this earlier this week by Steve Wegner, a friend from another cohort. Clyde Murley, who started the E&C program along with Sherry Nicholson, would begin the first session of each new cohort with one simple request. He told us this: consider your time at Antioch a present to yourself. He was so right. As you leave, I hope you understand what he meant by that, and I hope you'll remember today as Antioch's gift to you. Thanks for your patience, and congratulations to all of you on your wonderful accomplishment.